I think this sums up Joe Rogan's podcast, doesn't it? The thing is, Joe leans into the microphone, fat isn't the problem. Carbs and sugar is the problem. Ever eat nuts, man? Nuts are good for you. Meanwhile, his guest, yeah, I eat nuts. I used to pick peanuts back when I was a kid, and they were in the season. Nice. Like from a tree? No, they grow in the ground. What? Yeah, they grow in the ground, kind of like, Jamie, Google this right now. Jamie, Google peanuts growing in the ground. Holy shit. Yeah, just like that, they grow in the ground like potatoes. Well, that makes sense. They couldn't grow on trees because squirrels would fuck them up. Imagine that. Imagine how much squirrels would fuck up a peanut tree. Squirrels are basically tiny chimpanzees. So, look at the Joe Rogan podcast logo, right? Is this something that signals to people that the mysteries of the universe are going to be unfold? Is there even a poll or a survey that has people believing what's on Joe Rogan's podcast to be gospel? Probably not, but we have a lot of progressive people, a lot of intelligentsia, the academia, who is concerned. They are concerned because the government, with all its efforts for the last 2 years to push adequate information, has reached a hurdle. That is one man, one human being, one person that is capable of misinforming, of leading the mind of the people astray. You see, the citizen is not a grown-ass adult capable of making his own rational decisions. No, the citizen is a puppet. He is a vessel willing to be filled by the government or by the Joe Rogan. One of these evil entities, these eldritch horrors, will it be Joe Biden that will fill the mind of the citizen with goodness and kindness and health and information? Or will it be the evil Joe Rogan that will pour misinformation and completely ruin the government's plan? The USA, the most powerful government ever to exist on planet Earth, can be brought to its knees by Joe Rogan and his poisonous tongue.
Saki's talking about misinformation online and combating misinformation. She distributed misinformation.
Of course.
Because she said that it's approved by the FDA and their gold standard.
Disclaimer, it's a positive step, but we want every platform to continue doing more to call out mis and disinformation while also uplifting accurate information. But ultimately, our view is it's a good step, it's a positive step, but there's more that can be done.
There's more that can be done? Hey, you little fascist, that's a threat.
But luckily we got the actors, singers that I've never heard about, stepping up to the plate and showing to that evil corporation, Spotify, you're not going to allow Joe Rogan anymore. So, as I mentioned before, just so you can understand how intelligent the intelligentsia is, just how smart, like how powerful progressive people are. Okay, like when you become a leftist, you become a progressive, and you gain supernatural abilities. It's like opening the Sharingan, the third eye, and you're able to predict things that will happen in society. For example, there might be individuals that after 2 years of the pandemic, they're still on the fence whether or not to get vaccinated. Like all of this campaign, all of this push to get the vaccine, there are still individuals out there that are on the fence. And they listen to Joe Rogan episode. And all of a sudden, just like that, they decide not to take it. And that decision will cost them their lives, because that decision will affect it when they get sick and they will end up dying. The progressives know this. They are aware, which is why they need to shut down Joe Rogan right now to save lives. If you're for censoring Joe Rogan, you're like Jesus Christ. You're saving lives. You're like Mother Teresa, going around the world and saving people. Like, can you imagine if you are a person looking at a progressive, you should fall on their knees and kiss their feet. You should kiss Joe Biden's feet and every other progressive, because they're literally saving your life right now with censorship. Like, without censorship, you're in danger. A country where people can talk freely is a dangerous country. So this is why the White House is actually suggesting that the corporation Spotify do some good old-fashioned book burning. Now, we can't burn books like in the old time when the information was actually stocked into the books. So if you burn the book, the information was gone. No, but what the corporation can do is it can censor. So even though the public wants to have access to the information, and by the way, Joe Rogan, just so you can understand, the most popular person on cable is Tucker Carlson. No one is more popular than Tucker, right? Like, he is the most watched media personality on cable. Probably in the world. Like, probably even China doesn't have people as popular as Tucker Carlson, unironically. Joe Rogan is many times more popular than Tucker. Okay? Just so you can understand what we're talking about. And there are people who want to watch the Joe Rogan show. Not necessarily because they're brainwashed by Joe Rogan, but probably because they're entertained. I mean, they like what's being said there.
We're so soft. We think it's okay to look at a wild animal in its eyes. That's how stupid we are. Hi.
It's a challenge.
We're cool. We're cool, man. We're from National Geographic Society. We just come to make sure your baby's okay. Crazy 800-pound silverback bursting through the trees. It's right in your face. He's got fangs and he only eats vegetables.
I know.
And the
Shredded.
fangs only designed to you up. And you couldn't even imagine what an 800-pound gorilla's strength is like, because you would think of it as like an 800-pound man, but it would really be more like a 3,000-pound man.
So the government wants the corporation to intervene in the market and say, no, you're not allowed. For your own good, bigot. For your own good, because you are too dumb as an American adult to make your own decisions. Spotify will make them for you. That is what the government wants. Now, the government can't censor. The government can't make it illegal for Joe Rogan to speak. But what the government can is to encourage corporations. Like, come on, do this for us. Do this for us. Now, what's interesting is that it's not Joe Rogan doing the misinformation. It's his guests. His guests, which apparently happen to be world-renowned doctors with many publications and prestige, they're the ones doing the fabled misinformation. But notice how their names aren't dropped. Like, they don't even mention the doctors. They're not... No. What they do is they attack Joe Rogan. Why? Because this is not about misinformation and it's not about Joe Rogan. What this is about, exactly like Tulsi Gabbard likes to say, is that the woke ideology is very weak. It is incredibly fragile. It is prone to mockery. Any type of common sense discussion about woke issues is very entertaining and funny, which is why Joe Rogan is so popular, which is why Tucker Carlson is so popular. It's very easy to mock woke people. I mean, there was an interview on BBC where the presenter asked the woke individual if he can define what is a woman. They couldn't do this. Like, a child, a 5-year-old can tell you the definition of a woman. The woke person was incapable of doing that. I mean, that is some serious brainwashing from the academia. That is some serious misinformation from the gender studies, to the point where a person cannot even adequately say what a woman is, but uses the definition. Right? So it's interesting, right? Most people tune in because they want to see that. So that's why they don't like Joe Rogan, because I can't even say he is right-wing, but surely his political bias is leaning a little bit more to the right than the Democrats in the United States right now. And it's a problem. So it would benefit the Democrats if Joe Rogan wouldn't have a platform. It would benefit the government if he was censored. Now, again, the government can't censor him, so they're looking for an excuse. If it wasn't about COVID and misinformation, they would find something else. And what's interesting is that in order to survive the cancel culture as a conservative, you need to be worth around $300 million. That's what allows you to have a platform. If you're able to be worth more than $300 million, then you're allowed to stay. Any other person would have been gone by now. So now there's pressures from the White House to deplatform Joe Rogan. Do you know this actually gives credibility to Joe Rogan? Unironically, like if you're worried about people believing in conspiracy theories, the last thing you want to do is to shut down the conspiracy theory. I remember when I was younger and I was talking about the Illuminati with my friends. And I realized it's like, hold on a little bit. Like, why would the Illuminati, if they're so powerful and they're controlling it, why would they even allow for people to talk about them? What type of conspiracy is this? Like, what type of secrecy is it if people can just talk about them? Right? It doesn't make sense. So that's how I debunked. That's how I fact-checked myself in my own head. But now it seems it's like, all right, well, every effort, like the most powerful people in the world are going after Joe Rogan. Well, I guess he has something to say, doesn't he? It's kind of like your parents telling you can read any book from the library, but you're not allowed to read that book. I mean, that book just became the most interesting book in the entire library. For the love of God, the Bible, which was written thousands of years in the past, in Genesis, talks about how God allows people to have access to any tree they want, except for one, and that is literally the one tree that they go towards. You're making it esoteric, you're making it edgy, you're making it cool to listen to Joe Rogan. You're such an edgelord. What are you doing? I'm listening to Joe Rogan. Reminds me of the communists in my country. The Romanian government, they didn't like Radio Free Europe, and it was a crime to listen to it. I guess like if the US government had the ability, it would do it, right? Oh, by the way, it's my private company can do whatever it wants. Yes, my private company under pressure and duress from the government. My private... You're normalizing censorship is what you're doing, right? And I see a lot of leftists like, oh, the right wing, the free speech warriors, oh, why don't you care when a leftist gets censored? Because you convinced us. You managed. Congratulations, you convinced us. Yes, you're absolutely right. Censorship may be the way. The only way to fight against censorship is to censor the censors. Maybe this is the only way you can do it. You know, some people just don't like free speech. And well, what do? Do you allow them to have a platform so they can deplatform you? You need to deplatform the deplatformer before you get deplatformed. Unfortunately, it is what it is. It's kind of like going back in World War II in London, and you have this pacifist on the ground, and he's like, I don't know what an airplane is. I don't want to build an AA gun. I just want the Germans to stop bombing. It doesn't work that way, unfortunately, until both sides come to the table and both sides agree that censorship is wrong. Well, it is what it is. So hopefully we're going to see Spotify maintain their decision into allowing Joe Rogan to stay. Although, to be honest, at this point, I really don't care. I mean, Joe Rogan can go on any platform he wants. He can literally go anywhere. And with the vast amount of people that he has, he's going to make that anywhere famous. So I changed my mind. I hope Spotify does ban him so that he can sue them for breach of contract. And after that, he can go on literally any platform. It doesn't matter which. And it's going to become popular overnight. And then he can actually talk about anything and have any single guest he wants. Let me know what you guys think. And I'll see you in the comment section. Take care.